And 3, 2. Maria, we are live this morning on Metropolitan Live. How you doing?
Fine. Thank you, Victor. Thanks for having me.
As always, Maria, we at Metropolitan like to showcase cool people doing fascinating things. I've known you for a little bit of time now. You made a strong impression the very first time I met you, and now that we are participating in different things together, it's always a joy to have you with us. So you're clearly an international mentor, coach, that of the first top-rate quality, and I wanted to have the time to ask you some questions and promote yourself to the English-speaking community of Barcelona and beyond. And actually, before we jump into the questions, can you give us, like I say, a 10, 30-second interview or introduction of yourself, where you come from and what your journey is?
So where I come from, I'm Irish, born in Switzerland, raised in Geneva. I speak French and English. I've lived in New York, London, and now Barcelona. And I worked 22 years for Sotheby's, the auction house that sells art and jewelry and luxury across the world. And in 2020, I left the auction world and decided to start my own business, moved here to Barcelona, where I didn't speak a word of Spanish in the middle of the pandemic with my husband. And started my business as leadership, career coaching, and I also help small businesses scale. I don't know if I got into 30 seconds, but that's more than it in a nutshell.
You certainly framed it. So tell us a little bit more about your journey. So what got you, understand that you've come from other places to come to Barcelona, and not only did you move country during the pandemic, you also started a new business. So tell us, why did you do that, and how are things coming with your journey?
So after 22 years in corporate, I loved my career. I was very fortunate to have an amazing career that brought me all over the world and to work with incredible people. And when I started thinking, what's my next step? I thought, well, what about starting my own thing? And I was 48. I was like, if I don't do it now, when am I going to do it? So I thought, let's give it a shot. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I can always go back to something else. And so decided to start doing what I knew best, which I'd been doing for my company, is leading people. So teaching other people to lead, helping businesses scale, just felt like the natural thing to do. And it's also what I loved the most when I was working. It was working with others. It was helping other people grow, it was helping my teams and my colleagues grow and, feel like they're contributing and they have a purpose. So it just seemed like a natural fit, and so far so good.
Okay. And so what made you become jump into the leadership career coach and business mentoring world? Because it's got to be very popular, but you seem to be differentiating yourself very well because you have tremendous success in the previous corporate life, and you also are in a new environment, but you do a lot of work internationally.
Yes. Well, moving to Spain, I did have a hesitation. I knew nobody here, obviously, didn't speak the language. And we made the decision to move before the pandemic. And I thought, will people be willing to work online with me? Will they be willing to fly me out? And then the pandemic happened. And that sort of took a lot of the hesitation around working online with people away, which made it easier for me, obviously. And yes, most of my clients, I'll say 90% of my clients, are not in Spain. They're international because also they come through my network, which is international. So I work with people in California and Hong Kong, London, Switzerland, Europe, a bit everywhere in Europe. And so I do want to develop a bit more. Now it's been 3 years that my business has been running, and I do want to find some local clients because it can be a bit tiring to be constantly behind your computer. And and so some face-to-face. And I've been lucky that recently I've found a few local businesses, and I'm really enjoying working here in person with people and getting up to go to meetings in person. And so it's a mix. I think, you have to figure out your business as you go. It definitely doesn't look like what I thought it would be when I started. It's totally evolved, and I think it will just continue.
How is it different?
I had an idea of who I wanted to work with when I started. I thought, okay, I've been in corporate 20 years. I want to stay away from the corporate world. I want to work with small business owners, startups, that are young, enthusiastic, and that I can really bring my, my knowledge and experience and value to them. And then I realized that the startups, well, they don't have money and they don't know they need you till probably it's too late often. So I was like, okay, my target client doesn't know he needs me. So that's a bit of an issue. And so I started reassessing who I need to speak to. And then also it evolved because I was mainly doing leadership transitions, helping, CEOs, C-suite leaders transition into new roles or into new companies. And then at the end of last year, there was a lot of layoffs last year. And people started approaching me saying, do you do career coaching? And I thought, well, I can do that. And so I started doing that. And that really took off. A lot of people came to me for that. And that's going really well too. So I've really developed a whole program. And it's very satisfying because you feel like you're really helping people, whether it's find a new job or, get that promotion they're trying to get or figure out just what they want to do next. And I found that very satisfying, I have to say.
Wow. Okay. That certainly helps. So that leads right into my next question then, is talking about the challenges that you face. So I was going to ask you, like, what exactly is a career coach and business mentor? But you kind of got into it. What challenges do you normally face? You and your clients, I guess.
Yeah. So me or the clients?
Let's start with your clients.
So my clients, depending who they are, I mean, at the end of the day, it's more or less the same problems all over now. I'd say businesses, it's often communication issues internally. So that's a huge one. And then when it's leaders who want to transition or grow, it's often self-awareness, managing themselves. And that's a big issue. That's a challenge that they need, either that they lack the skills or they're not aware that, what they need to work on. So that's often they have blind spots. And then in the career coaching, well, it's people who feel stuck, whether it's at their career level. It's often mid-level career people, so they're halfway through their career. They've have the experience, they've worked, and they got to a point where they feel like, okay, is this what I want to continue doing the rest of my life? I have a lot of clients, in fact, that are in corporate and are asking me like, you've transitioned from, corporate to your own business. What do you think about that? Asking me questions about that. And I think also the pandemic reset a lot of people on that point. Finally, we had time to sit and think about what we were doing and what we wanted in life, which I know that in my corporate, like, I never had a minute to do that. And I think for a lot of people, it just went click, do I want to continue doing this? I really enjoy my job. What else is there out there? And I think as you get older, also, you start valuing different things and putting up with less shit, the things that you put up with before and accepted that you don't anymore. And so I think all these things sort of pop up.
Okay. And so knowing these challenges and your background with your experience, how do you help your clients? What is it that you're doing specifically that adds value to them?
So first of all, I think it's about uncovering what the situation is. It's understanding, okay, for some people, it's, raising their awareness about what's not working. And often people think it's other people's, it's because of other external issues, but a lot of the time it's because of you. And it's either because of how you're behaving or not behaving, or the actions you're not taking, or your mindset. So for any of these clients, the first thing we do is like, we make an audit, we take stock, we try and figure out, okay, what's the actual situation? What's going on? And we do some assessments around, I do some research around what the problems could be. And then we also figure out, okay, well, what's the ideal situation? Where do you want to get to? What's your goal? And what do we need to do to bridge the gap, right? And we figured out together, and then we, give ourselves an action plan, goals, work together on what needs to be worked on. And I coach them through real life situations if they're at work and they're, having to deal with, difficult bosses, difficult colleagues, or they're having to face challenges in their company, and they don't know how to, align their leadership team, or deal with a difficult or challenging person in the organization. I can come in and help do that. And then when it's for people figuring out their career, I will help them, give them some steps, give them some tools and resources also on how to go and find, a new job, how to brand yourself, how to, how to put all the chances out there to be seen and discovered and raise your visibility and make you attractive to recruiters if that's what you're looking for.
Okay. So you did two things that you've said that I would like to delve a little bit more into. One of them is you'd earlier said that one of the challenges that you've seen is that startups don't know that they need your help.
Yeah.
Why do you think it is that they don't know that yet?
I think a lot of the founders don't have, or from what I've seen, a lot of these founders are people who are just entrepreneurs. That's their mindset. They've started businesses, maybe 1, 2, 3, and one has taken off and it's growing. And what they've been doing has been working. But there's always a point, you get to a point where, what got you there is not going to get you to the next level. You need new skill sets. You need to bring in maybe some people who are more professional, because there's a lot you can bootstrap up to a certain point. But then when your business starts growing, there's lots of issues that pop up, like cash flow issues, like hiring the right people, maintaining the culture. There's lots of things that happen. And somebody who hasn't had that experience of, growing a business or worked in an environment of a bigger business don't see these problems. They don't know what they don't know, right? And so they don't understand that they need help to make sure that transition to the next level, that their growth is going to happen in a way that's going to maintain, everything they've built till then, and allow it to scale. And that's why a lot of those businesses crash at that point when they grow very quickly, because that's
in the Death Valley, right? So,
sorry.
Yeah, a friend of mine, Michael Eckhart, he's the co-author of a book, a famous book, and he talks about the Valley of Death. So things are pretty cool, and then things are going well, and then there's this Death Valley that a lot of entrepreneurs, when they start to scale, they lose control of their company, and a lot of companies die, even though they had initial, success, as you were talking about. And then there's Marshall Goldsmith's book. I think that's who it is. Didn't he have like what got you here won't get you there?
Won't get you there. Yeah, exactly.
So that kind of leads me to the other thing, because you had mentioned that you work together with your clients to identify the as is and the desired to be state. Does that require you to have really good sector expertise in what the client's doing?
No, because the actual issues, whether they're selling a product or a service, the internal issues or the internal things that need to happen in the business are the same across most businesses. I mean, whether it's going to be about behaviors, it's going to be about choices of how you're going to, the structure you're going to put in place, the people you're going to bring in, how your processes are organized. And so it's more about strategic thinking rather than actual whatever the services or what. I mean, then afterwards, there's obviously, you go into the nitty-gritty, there are specifics, but the actual how we're doing this is pretty straightforward for every business.
Okay. And so if I were to say, because I want to be able to recommend you to companies that as I come across them, say, oh, you need Maria's help. What kind of filter, or how can I quickly identify a company that would be good for you, rather than want to say it's a micro company? So it's too small still for somebody with your expertise. Is it a monthly recurring revenue of a certain amount, or number of employees, or how can I quickly assess whether somebody's a good client for you?
That's a good question. I would definitely say it has to be a company that's at a certain level in their business and ready to grow to next level. So I would say anything from 30 employees up, and that they're seriously investing. There's that also. It's that they have to be willing to invest in growth, because you can't just grow. There's things that need to happen. So it's a company that's ready to invest to grow their business into the next level, and that they're also ready to do the hard work and look at themselves and see what's, be ready to be open to feedback and seeing, what they can do to change. Because some people want to grow, but they're not willing to either change or do the work that needs to happen for that. And that's really important. So when I assess, if I want to work with somebody, that's one of the first things I have to, discuss with them, to say, well, are you ready to look in the mirror? And are you ready to step back? Like typically founders struggle with stepping back and letting go of what they've created. And sometimes they need to bring in somebody who might have technical skills they don't have, or managerial skills they don't have. And that can be a challenge for them to do that.
Certainly, yeah, I get it. I mean, as a small entrepreneur myself, I used to be in the big corporate world, but doing project management, and there's so many hats that one has to wear. And between accounting and doing sales and doing strategy and doing social media, you can be a generalist and be pretty good at all of them. But at some point, I recognize I don't want to be in a company that has more than 20 people. I can't handle it, and I don't know. I would need to. I can see how I would want to bring somebody in to replace me as soon as possible, and let the company go with certain skill sets that are much better than mine for that sector, for that size company, that stage in its evolution. So I think that's fascinating what you do. I have been asked a couple of times for example, if I would like to be a business coach. And when I'm helping companies raise money or something, I become a coach, but I'm a coach for 4 to 6 months with a very specific goal, raising capital or buying or selling a company. And then I'm out of there. So I'm very transaction focused. But how long does a normal engagement last for you? Like when somebody hires you and they say they need to get these skills, how long does that normally last?
So it depends what the engagement is, but like typically the career coaching would be, I have like a 3-month program, like the career and leadership coaching, which is like, this is 3 months. This is what we're going to do in 3 months. And then at the end, obviously the objective is for them to move on without me. But then some clients are like, I'd like to continue checking in with you monthly, or, then there's opportunities to continue working together. But we set those goals, and the idea is for me to say, okay, done. 3 months, you have everything you need to figure it out without me moving forward, and that's the objective, is for me to become obsolete. Then when it's working with companies, it's project based. Basically, if it's going to be some consulting on a specific project, it will be based on the deliverables and the time we've agreed on for that. So it's really all my services are tailor-made and custom-made to my clients. So not two clients are getting the same program, because I have a framework, but then, depending what their needs are, I'm going to adapt it to them. And I create stuff all the time based on their demand. Clients are like, oh, I'd really love to, like recently I had a client who's like struggling with negotiation for a salary. So I created some resources for him for that. And then therefore my next clients will benefit from it too. So it's a constantly growing beast.
Okay. Let me ask you this. How does somebody who does what you do in terms of mentoring and coaching leaders, how do you find new business?
So mainly through my network, I have to say, referrals on my network. Some through LinkedIn as well. So I'm very active on LinkedIn. And so some of it comes through LinkedIn. But yes, it's mainly through my network, my connections. I'm lucky to have a very good network. And referrals then from past clients, obviously.
It seems to me you're very modest. You say you're lucky to have it, but I always think of my brother. My brother's my idol. And he worked his ass off for 20 years straight, never took vacations. And now he's, extremely successful. But he always had one phrase that I always liked, and somehow I think it applies to you as well. The harder he works, the luckier he gets. And, I've always wanted to see how that really applies. And so, I know you as Maria Kelly, the person. What do you do on the side besides your your coaching and mentoring? Because you have many facets to you as a person. What do you do? What side projects are you running?
Okay, side project. Well, one of them I'm running with you is that we started in May this year, which is called the Metropolitan Business Association, which has grown so rapid. I feel like I'm facing what I'm helping my founders face is this exponential growth on a project that we had no idea was going to grow this quickly. So in May last year, the two of us had a conversation, and then we brought a few people in and said, hey, we have this idea. Should we do this? And you'd been wanting to do this for a long time, start this association for English-speaking entrepreneurs and business owners in Barcelona, which was clearly missing because since we started, we were 7, and now yesterday we had a meeting and we were over 50 people turned up. We didn't have enough seats for them. So that's been a great and really interesting project, because for me it's been an opportunity to connect with more people locally, and that's been really, and get that face-to-face time that I wanted with local business people and entrepreneurs, and meeting really interesting people. The other thing I do is I'm part of Toastmasters, the public speaking and leadership program that helps people all over the world. And I joined them actually just after the pandemic to actually meet some people, because we'd been here locked in with our masks and we hadn't met anybody in a year that we'd come to Spain, and we felt, okay, I need to go out and meet some people. So I joined Toastmasters at that moment, and it was great. It helped me for my practicing my public speaking skills, but also to make friends and grow my social network locally.
Is your Toastmaster work, is that in English or French or multiple languages?
That's in English. My club is in English. The Toastmaster does it in lots of languages, but my club is in English, and I was the president for a couple of years. And I'm also part of the Professional Speakers Association in Spain. So yeah, I've been joining lots of groups to try and grow my network locally, and it's been great. So I've met lots of interesting people. And yeah, apart from that, I spend time with my lovely husband and our dog when I have some downtime and go on the beach.
So you live close to the beach here in Barcelona, so you must enjoy walking.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I'm in Villa Olímpica. I just crossed the road and I'm on the beach. So that's the quality of life we were looking for when we came here.
So it kind of gets to that question. What do you do when you're not working? So I don't know if that's a different thing, or do you consider your Toastmaster and your MBA, that's working? Yeah. Do you do some other stuff? Are you like a skier or some other sport that I'm not aware of?
No, I work out every morning, but I'm not a professional. I'm not doing anything extreme now. But no, yeah. So it's more or less what I do. It's I'm a foodie, love good restaurants and going out to social events, meet people. There's a lot of things you organize that I love to attend. America's Cup is happening right under my window these days, so I'm going out to look at the boats.
Wow. Yeah. So tell me, you've been here now a little while. What is your favorite place to eat here in Barcelona?
Oh, that's hard. My favorite place.
Or your fallback, because sometimes I have my favorite place, but I don't always go to my favorite place, either for budget reasons or it's just too far.
Yeah. My fallback place. So there's one, I'm lucky we have one across the road here called Marina Bay, which is a really nice restaurant here, and they do excellent food, which we bring our friends whenever they come because it's just easy and it's on the Olympic Port. And they're actually going to open loads of new restaurants just on the Olympic Port that they've just refurbished completely. So I can't wait to see what's coming there. That's definitely one. Otherwise, oh God, there's so many nice places where you can eat here in Barcelona. From the top of my head, I can't say one just like that.
Well, I want to ask you a little bit more, if I can, about the Metropolitan Business Association. So what is the mission there? What are we doing there?
So our mission was to bring together the English-speaking community of business owners and entrepreneurs in order to connect, network, and grow our businesses together. And the way we want to do this is through business referrals. So we want to get to know each other really well, get to know what each of us are doing, so that we can actually be ambassadors for each other and refer business to each other, but also maybe collaborate together. You know, we've seen in our group already a bunch of collaborations, a bunch of people who are working together and creating maybe new businesses. So that's the idea.
Excellent. Okay, wanted to get that in there. And do you have a vision for what you would like to see in the next, say, 6 to 12 months?
With MBA?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right now we want to work more on that side, the referral side of the business, and because as we had so many people come in a go, and like lots of new people every session, we've now decided to cap it to 50 till the end of the year, so we can actually get to know each other really well and build those relationships. And yeah, I can see this becoming something really big. We want to do more events. We want to do social events. We want to also connect, I think, with local businesses maybe, and create opportunities with them, whether it's partnerships, sponsorships, and things like that. And I think also support our community, give back, because we are all there to help each other, but we should also be helping our community. So we had a homeless entrepreneur, Andrew Funk, who came to speak to us recently. And we're definitely going to see how we can work with him to help, because it seems very aligned with what we're doing, and see how we can support local charities and continue growing, see where this brings us. I mean, I think what sets us apart from other businesses like this, other associations, is that for the moment, we're entirely free. And we've done this because we want to make sure we're inclusive and that we give everybody an opportunity to be part of it. And I think that's really what sets us apart and makes it a really nice community.
And what do you think the percentage is of men and women in the group?
Oh God, that's a hard question. I don't know. I feel like there's maybe a little bit more women, but I need to count. I haven't a clue. But I feel like we're getting more and more men. I think at the beginning we had more women, and the last few sessions I feel like there were more men. Maybe it's hard to say. I need to look at the results, but I think definitely more women right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. Actually, I thought it was still considerably more women than men. Maybe to the tune of 75-25 or even higher women. But as time has passed on, there have been more men coming to our events. Yeah. And the last question I have is, how can people get in touch with you?
So the best way to get in touch with me is on LinkedIn, because I'm there every day. So my handle is Ask Maria Kelly. So the best way is to send me a message on LinkedIn, connect with me, comment, whatever. Find me there, come and get me, and I'll be happy to interact and meet new people.
Okay, is there anything else that you'd like to share, or that maybe we can do to help you?
Well, right now, actually, sorry?
What's your ask? How can we be of service?
Yeah. Right. Actually, as you're mentioning that. So one thing I'd like to do that I'm not doing right now, to add, as I don't have enough things to do right now, is to find a non-executive director position on the board of a small business. So that's something I've been looking into recently and exploring. So if there's anybody who feels like they need someone with international experience, over 25 years of leadership experience, that could help them grow their business, I'm interested in talking with you, definitely.
Okay, so non-executive director, that would be, is that for avoidance of doubt, what does that mean? What does that entail?
So that's somebody who's on the board that doesn't have executive decision on the company, but that's there to guide and advise the founder or the owner of the company.
Okay, cool. That's what I thought. Just want to make sure I didn't get that wrong. All righty. Well, I think we've reached the questions that I've had, and I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us, because you're increasingly visible figure doing some really cool stuff, and you're really super nice. So it's always easy. And if there's anything that we can do, please don't hesitate to ask, Maria. At Metropolitan, we are capturing the stories of people who've chosen to move here, just like you did. Not so many people came in the middle of a pandemic and in the middle of a career change. But to the extent that it's not too late, welcome to Barcelona. It's fantastic knowing you. And I like your motto, you get shite done.
Yes, I do. Did I lie? Did I lie?
Did not. Anyhow, it's always wonderful to speak to you, Maria. And if we can be of service, don't hesitate.
Thank you very much for having me, Victor.
Okay, stay with me. I'm going to end this now, but just stay with me for a bit.